Tucker on him. Throws it up for Ayton. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
In my opinion, the best block of all time. Obviously we're a little biased.
I say excuse my language, but it was one of those moments.
I thought I was going to get dunked on, to be honest with you.
It's about as impressive as you can get.
Chris Paul falls down and lost the ball. Middleton inside, he banks it home. The NBA Finals are tied at 2 games apiece. It's a best of 3 now.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take on a Feel Good Friday. Getting you set for the weekend. That is Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman. I'm Molly Karen Rose. I like the beats. Fellas, we ready to do this? Let's go. A pivotal Game 5 in Phoenix.
Okay.
No? Okay. All right. The series all knotted up at 2 apiece. Both teams defending home court Milwaukee with the momentum winning the last 2 thanks to huge games from Giannis and Chris Middleton. Stephen A., is this a must-win for the Suns?
Oh, I absolutely believe that to be the case because here's the deal. Milwaukee is winning Game 6. Milwaukee is winning Game 6 in that environment at the Fiserv Forum. If the Milwaukee Bucks win Game 5 Saturday night, their fans in Milwaukee will be celebrating an NBA championship for the first time since the 70s come Tuesday night. They're winning Game 6. They're not losing Game 5. So if you're the Phoenix Suns, you have to definitely treat Game 5 like it's a Game 7 because I don't believe they're winning a Game 6 back in Milwaukee. Not with that crowd, not with Giannis, who still isn't 100%, by the way, playing the way that he's playing, not how Middleton performs at home, and not with attrition having kicked in against CP3. CP3, I think that he'll have 2 damn good games out of 3. I don't think it'll be a good Game 6. I think Booker could potentially have 3 big games, but at least 2. I don't think it'll be Game 6. I think Game 6 is going to belong to the Milwaukee Bucks, which means the Phoenix Suns got home court advantage for a reason. They better win Game 5.
I don't feel that way. I think it's a pretty damn good idea to win type game, but I wouldn't call it a must-win, Stephen A., because I just watched the Phoenix Suns. Like, even with Chris Paul turning the ball over and all that, I just watched them take them to the brink in Game 4. It took one of the greatest plays in the history of basketball, right? And Chris Paul turning the ball over and Middleton going bananas at the end to squeak out a win in Game 4. Why am I to believe that the Suns are incapable of winning Game 6? I have a legitimate question for you, Stephen A., because you've been covering this series. You've been in Phoenix. You've been in Milwaukee. And I'm not talking about the Deer District, right? I get that whole kind of area might be an advantage. I'm talking about in the arena. Do you notice a better home court advantage in terms of the fans for the Bucks than the Suns?
I got to tell you, I thought that no one was even on Phoenix's level, to believe it or not, until I went to Milwaukee. I mean, it's all they have, Max. Green Bay's 2 hours away. I mean, the Brewers, I mean, they'll think about the Brewers, as the summer progresses. It's all they have. And to see them be this close to a championship, this crowd in Milwaukee is something special.
It's better than Phoenix's. Is it better than Phoenix's home court?
I'm not going to say better than, but it's on that level.
Okay,
it's on that level, Max.
That's what I thought, because when you watch Phoenix, at least on TV, it's like, whoa, that's a home crowd. That's a home court advantage. And That's my point. You're right about Game 6. That's a tough spot for the Suns to be in if they lose Game 5, have to do that in front of that crowd in Milwaukee. But the same can be said for this Game 5. If I see the Bucks able to overcome the home court advantage of the Suns, and I just saw the Suns come within a whisker of doing that to the Bucks in Game 4, well, I already know that one team can win on the other's home court, and I already know one team can take the other team to the wire. I wouldn't say that the Suns are incapable of winning in Milwaukee. I don't anticipate that Chris Paul will continue to have 1 million turnovers a game. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Devin Booker is going to, look, he lit it up after he had a couple bad games, right? He lit it up. I think they can win in Milwaukee.
Well, let me throw this at you, Max, because, you've been to enough sporting events in your life. When you're watching a team and you feel like they missed a moment? Mm-hmm. That's what I feel Phoenix did in Game 4. Devin Booker picks up his 5th foul, with about 6 minutes left or so, and he's got to go to the bench, and he's rolling, and he's absolutely unstoppable. But the foul stopped him because he had to go to the bench, and while he was on the bench was obviously when Milwaukee made their run. People keep forgetting Phoenix had a 9-point lead, if I remember correctly, in the fourth quarter, and they lost that. I mean, they were rolling. You had a lead, and on top of it all, Devin Booker couldn't be stopped. He was flowing. And so when you look at it from that perspective, just thinking about it, asking yourself, with a championship on the line, a Game 6, an opportunity to avoid a trip to Phoenix for a Game 7, that home crowd, that Deer District, which, by the way, all of these numbers, people keep talking about 12, 15,000. I was told by the Milwaukee Bucks, by a member of the Milwaukee Bucks, it was 25,000 people.
It's easy to believe that.
I was told it was 25,000
Did it feel that
people.
way?
All right, yes. And so what I'm saying is this. You got 25,000 people outside, and they are rocking, and they're roaring. You got the great Mike Breen, the Hall of Famer that is Mike Breen, literally telling you, this building is shaking after, Middleton makes a layup and the and one that wasn't because Devin Booker didn't get called for one of the 4 times he should have fouled out of the game and stuff like that. And Breen is talking about the building is shaking. He ain't lying, Max, because when I was there for Game 3, the building was shaking. I mean, it was pandemonium. It was electric, man. And I'm just saying, if you are the Milwaukee Bucks and you just warded off Phoenix in Game 4, if you win Game 5, you don't come back and let Game 6 go. I don't believe that happens. I really, really don't. And the home rims are easier for Giannis from the free throw line, it appears, as well.
Keep in mind, though, what we were all thinking in that Clippers series. Mm-hmm. Chris Paul misses the first couple of games, COVID.
Yep.
Campaign played great. He comes back, but early on in that series, like, the Suns might beat, the Clippers might beat the Suns, not early on. Once the Clippers won a couple games, the Clippers might beat the Suns. In fact, a lot of basketball people were saying that the Clippers would actually win the series. And partly that was because, Stephen A., when Chris Paul got back, after playing the best basketball of his career, which is saying something, he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer, against Denver, he slowed up the offense. It wasn't vintage Chris Paul. And at that moment, it was like, Chris Paul's not right. The Clippers are going to knock him out. And what did Chris Paul do? He answered in a Game 6 with one of the best games you will ever see, and they won. So what I'm saying is, in this series, it's up and down. In the last couple series for Chris Paul, but you just said earlier, you believe he doesn't have 3 great games in him, but he can do 2 out of 3, right? They have to either win one game where Chris Paul's not great or win them both when he is. But I think he has enough in the tank to get it done, even if they lose a Game 5.
We can't forget about Giannis. And we can't forget about the fact that whether Giannis is struggling from the perimeter or the free throw line, he's still good for 25-plus and double-digit rebounds. His impact is going to be felt, which leads you to believe Phoenix will be in a tight game, even if they bring their A game. The game will still be tight. Because of that is one of the big reasons why I say you've got to win Game 5, because you're not going to win Game 6, because I think Game 6, if it's going to be close, and I think that Milwaukee will be in a position to pull that out if they know they've got a title on the line to avoid a Game 7. I don't like Phoenix's chances if that happens. That's why I say Phoenix, it's a must-win situation Saturday night. Tomorrow night, I'll be there. Yeah. They better win this game. They better win this game, or they're going to be celebrating the title in Milwaukee Tuesday night.
It's a very good idea to win it, but I think if the Bucks can beat Phoenix on the road, then the reverse can be true too. One thing I noticed throughout this series, Stephen A., even in Game 4, move the ball, guys, everyone's touching the ball, and they get easier baskets than the Bucks. The Bucks look like they have to grind and work for everything to me, which tells me that I believe the Suns are actually the better team, and they still have home court.
Let's focus on specific players, though. When Middleton scores 30, guys, they've won all their games this postseason. So we saw Devin Booker. He struggled in Game 3 and then more than redeemed himself. Both he and Chris Middleton went off in Game 4. And then Chris Paul hasn't looked like himself of late. Max, who do you think is the key player to get the JOB done Game 5 mañana?
It's Chris Middleton. It's Chris Middleton, from Kendrick Perkins calling him Batman and then backing off, Perk, and saying, well, Giannis is Superman. But Batman doesn't just show up in the Batcave. You got to show up on the road. And Chris Middleton has been kind of like one of these unstoppable superstar types at the end of games sometimes, and usually, not always, usually, that's at home. Here they have a pivotal Game 5, and we know what we're going to get from Giannis. You know something, Stephen A? My late great brother Sam and I used to argue about Shaq and Kobe because I was the big brother. I liked Shaq, and he was a Kobe guy, right? When we would argue who's more important. And he would say, look, Kobe, whenever he goes off, they win. And I would say that's because Shaq goes off every single night. Every night. If they both did what Shaq did, they'd never lose. So I can count on Giannis. The one time he scored under 30 in the last, I don't know how many games, it's because he hyperextended his knee, had to come out of the game. He was at like 25 points with 9 boards. Otherwise, he's better than 30 every single night with double-digit rebounds and other stuff like assists and blocks and steals. I know Giannis will show up. Will Chris Middleton, or will they waste another huge night from Giannis as they did in Game 2 when Giannis went for 40?
Well, what I would tell you, Max Kellerman, is that you can't, listen, you can rely on Giannis for his numbers. But again, and when games wane and it's close, and you're suspect from the free throw line, I'm not sure I can qualify you as dependable. And I think that that's something to pay attention to, particularly in road situations where they're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the amount of time it takes for him to let go of those free throws. That's number one. Number two, though, watching Devin Booker last in Game 3, in Game 4, I apologize. He is my key player for Game 5. Because if that Devin Booker shows up in Game 5, Phoenix ain't losing that game. They ain't losing that game if Devin Booker shows up and he's dropping 40 and he's dropping buckets and he's looking absolutely unstoppable. They're not losing this game if in Phoenix if Booker plays like that. And I think he's key. And I think the reason that he's also the key is because everybody knows that Chris Paul is not 100%. He's not right, Max. He's not right. I'm telling you what I know. He's not right. Okay, so because he's not right, I think that Devin Booker has been given word, young fella, it's on you. We need you to be that superstar, that second coming of Kobe that Stephen A. declared you were and Max Kellerman declared you were. We need you to be that dude because a championship is on the line. Go out there and be great. Mamba mentality and all of this other stuff. Do it. This is what it comes down to right now. This is a best of 3 for the championship, period. This is a man that wants to play for the Olympic and win Olympic gold. Guess what? NBA championship's a little bit more important than the Olympic gold medal.
Yeah,
and this is what's on the line, and Devin Booker knows it, and he knows he can't rely but so much on CP3. So I'm going to put 2 guys in, Max, right here for your edification. Devin Booker is one. The other is Cam Johnson. I am a huge Cam Johnson believer. I believe this brother, Cam Johnson, should get 30-plus minutes, and I believe that Monty Williams and CP3 should ensure that he gets at least 15 to 20 shots. This brother is a sniper. He is not scared of the moment. He's got good size on him. He's athletic, and he can gun it, period. This dude is no joke, and he is the one dude coming off their bench who has been consistently productive with his shot and his offense. Get him in the game more and get him the damn ball.
I'll say
Cam Johnson and Devin Booker, those are my key. Booker first, Cam Johnson second, but both of them are my key players.
Look, I mean, the Suns have a great... Look at the starting 5. Mikal Bridges can light it up. He can really shoot, and he can really defend. I appreciate what you're saying about Devin Booker, Stephen
He can't
A,
shoot better than Cam Johnson, Max.
I don't know.
I don't think he can.
Mikal Bridges shot something like 43% from 3
I don't care.
this year.
I'm just talking about watching these playoffs. He ain't shooting better than Cam Johnson.
Well, the reason Cam Johnson lost the starting job was defense. It wasn't shooting. But I appreciate what you said about Devin Booker. Here's where I'm coming from. If you're looking for a big night, the Mamba mentality, and a big game, and you go to Devin Booker, you've come to the right place. I believe that Devin Booker shows up in those situations.
So do I.
And so we're on the opposite side of this argument, really, that we usually are. You're usually the guy who says, look, I can rely on that guy. I'm not talking about him because I don't know what I'm going to get from the other guy. I know I can rely on Giannis. I'm not talking free throws. I'm talking about having a monster game. I can rely on him. I can rely on Devin Booker. I believe I can. Big moment. They need more from him. You came to the right place. Stephen A., what do we get from Chris Middleton? Sometimes extraordinary stuff, sometimes like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm looking at Chris Middleton. This is his moment right now. Middleton has got to show up.
Well, he's got to show up for game 6 and potentially a game 7, not necessarily a game 5. You see, the thing about it is that, again, game 7 is a crapshoot. Anybody can have that. I'm declaring Milwaukee will not lose game 6.
Yeah, that's where we disagree.
And that's where we disagree. Milwaukee will not lose game 6. So, to me, they're going to win game 6. The finals is determined game 5. If Phoenix loses tomorrow night, to me, it's over Tuesday. And I don't believe they're losing tomorrow night.
I think Phoenix is too good, and I'll tell you something else. To go out like that, they could lose a game 6, but I'm saying they could also win it at Milwaukee. You can talk about Chris Paul not being right. That's obvious. If you have eyes, you can see. That's not, something's going on. If Chris Paul's back is to the wall, though, if he has anything left at all, and he has to go on the road to a game 6 in Milwaukee, and he knows his team came very close in game 4, I believe Chris Paul will have the game of his life. Like, he'll find whatever reservoir of strength or whatever he needs to get it done. That doesn't mean they win. You can play valiantly and still lose, but I would not count the Suns out of a game 6 in Milwaukee.
Well, listen, I think that if you win game 5, your back is not against the wall for game 6 if you're Phoenix. As a matter of fact, Milwaukee gets out to an early run, and they take their foot off the gas to preserve CP3 for game 7. That's how I'm viewing things. And that's why I say Phoenix has got to win tomorrow night. That CP3 and Devin Booker and those boys, they got to treat game 5 like a game 7. They were in Milwaukee. They know how difficult it's going to be to win a game 6 in Milwaukee if they lose game 5. They know. They don't want that. They're going to win game. They better win game 5.
These are the highest leverage games of Chris Paul's career, of his career. There's legacy on the line. How can a whole career boil down to this minute or that minute? Not the whole career, but this has an enormous influence on the way he'll be remembered. Where on the lists and all that kind of stuff. And, Michael Jordan's so-called flu game, or LeBron James in game 7 on the road against the Warriors. We're going to talk about it later, like Tom Brady, actually MCL last season, not to mention in the Super Bowl. Chris Paul is writing his legacy right now. And whatever's going on, whether it's the after effects of something he went through, an illness, or whatever it is that's where he's not right, Stephen A., you brought it up yesterday. I'll reiterate it right now. He got to figure it out. Either game 5, game 6, or if there is a game 7, because he's writing the script now.
Sure, sleeping in his own bed will help him. But to bolster that point about game 5 being pivotal, when they're tied 2-2 in a series, game 5, teams go on to win 72%